Thanks to the support as a channel member, Dara. Over £100 million of players out, £280 million of players in, a massive reduction in the average age of this squad, and we're not in the relegation zone anymore. Who said this was a bad idea coming here? I'm making my managerial name right now, boys and girls. Hello and welcome to Club 3, Part 3 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have a game against Bournemouth in the Premier League and then a second leg of our Europa League first knockout round game against Green. I've never been able to say it. You lot always tell me. You'll tell me again and I'll forget again. Since you were last with me, we've started scoring goals and playing well, and we're on a little bit of an undefeated run in the league. As you can see in the league, we have made our way up to 17th place, so we are out of the relegation zone. Actually, only 7 points behind Peterborough now, who look very catchable. We didn't even steal any players from them. They have sold a few players, and we'll start with their transfers rather than ours. But they sold Scala, Biza, and Ketcher. Ekra Limby's left the club. Stephen Boyd, one of the name in the game players, has gone out on loan. They've basically sold a load of players that I was using and have gone out and signed Andrea Bellotti, which, to be fair, he was 5 years younger. Incredible signing. But where's he going to play? Apparently he's starting. I mean, they've lost their mind. They've signed him. They've signed... I think I signed him. They've signed this guy, a right back, who doesn't look... I mean, they've signed this guy. How many left wingers do you need? £13 million they've spent on him. This is the system they play now at Posh. Oh, that's us. Hang about. This is the system they play now. It's very similar. This is the system they play now. They've dropped Kirstic. Ricky J. Jones doesn't even get on the bench anymore. And a 34-year-old Andrea Bellotti is the starting striker. What was the point of the work I did there? Goodness me. Right, should we have a look at our transfers now? Because these ones are a little bit more impressive. So, I think in the last episode, we'd already sold Sula and Barco. In fact, the Adeyemi deal went through as well. And that was the last player we sold. We got a load of other players out on loan. But that brought in nearly £110 million of transfer fees amongst all that stuff. To add to the £40 million of transfer budget we already had. We had some spare wage budget as well. And of course, we utilised some lovely buy now, pay later. It was the January sales. It's the reasonable thing to do. We were skint after Christmas. Let's pay for it. Let's worry about it in the future. Stick it on the old never, never. So we actually spent 280, or in fact, £279 million on players. You already met Bristow, Goncalves, Estingave, Alexic, Pedri. You met all them in the last episode. So the three that came in since then, Liam Delap, which I think this is a cracking signing, 25 years old, England international with 16 goals from 20 appearances. He's a 4-star striker, better than João Pedro was. Ignore who's above him there. We'll meet him in a minute. Better than João Pedro. Never really got the chance that he deserved at any of the clubs he's been at, really. He started at Derby, went to Manchester City, but never really got in their team. Went out on loan to Bournemouth, went out on loan to Villa and scored an absolute ton of goals for Villa. Went back to Manchester City, still never really got a chance. Went to Paris Saint-Germain for big money and scored a lot of goals for Paris Saint-Germain. 18 in 17 there, 19 in 25, 12 in 27. Chelsea spend big money on him and then don't play him. Despite the fact, 6 goals from 4 starts, 2 goals. He was scoring goals for him. And there you go again. He's come into us, played 5 games, scored 6 goals. We've got England's best striker. Yes, he cost us £75 million, but... Champions League, here we come. We also signed Carlos Gascon, 23-year-old Spanish international centre-back. He's your replacement for Sula. 3-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability. We're not actually starting him yet because Gabriel and Quaresma are both playing well at the back, but we just needed another centre-back. He fills that gap for 59 million. And then we had a little bit of money left, so we squeezed this guy in. Rui Camara is a Portuguese international, 21-year-old right winger who can also play up front. He is an absolute superstar, 4.5-star current ability. He comes straight in as the best player at the club. He's better than anyone else we've got out wide. He's better than anyone else we've got up front. And he just looks brilliant. He is the best player at the club at 21 years old, even with all the quality that you already know we've already got here. And on top of all that, we were able to keep hold of João Pedro. No one was interested in him. And it looks like he's not even unhappy anymore. Have we managed to... He decided he doesn't want to leave. He still wants to leave to play in the Champions League. Well, I tell you what, João Pedro, we do well in the Europa League, we could still qualify for the Champions League this year. That's the mad thing. If we carry on playing well, it is not unreasonable for us to finish mid-table, qualify for the Champions League through the Europa League, and just laugh at the naysayers. Laugh at them. I mean, we couldn't have done those transfers at Peterborough. We don't... Delap does not come to Peterborough. He just doesn't. We couldn't sign Andy Parsons last summer because he went to Leicester instead. Liam Delap, England's number 9, 16 goals from 20 appearances. He doesn't come to Peterborough. This is why we came to Arsenal. Right, we're playing Bournemouth today. Watch us lose now after all that. We're playing Bournemouth, and this is the team. This basically is the team at the moment. We've got Dragowski in goal. Back four of Tierney, Gabriel Quaresma and Williams, Kovacic and Aya, I've been told to say, not Aja, Aya. João Pedro, Pedri and Camara, or is it Camara? Probably, I'm going to call him Camara, and Delap up front. Let's see these boys in action and start to take another step towards catching up with Posh and finishing above Posh. I hope they don't get relegated, but I would like to finish above them because I do feel like I've got a point to prove that I was right to leave. Because this is the first episode I've recorded since I've left. And oh my word, did I go through the ringer in the comments section last night. It wasn't one of my most fun evenings. So I now really am motivated to show that I was right to make this move and to show just how much we can achieve with Arsenal. And goal number 1, win that Europa League, get ourselves back into the Champions League, finish as high up the league as we can. Although we're still only like 1 point outside the relegation zone, I feel like we're not really in a relegation battle anymore because I think we've now hit some good form. This was already a team that finished 6th in the Premier League last year. They were too good to be in the position they were in. It was just the fact that Thierry Henry had lost the dressing room. We've now won them back. This team isn't getting relegated. Not a chance this team is getting relegated. And fingers crossed we can start charging up the league. And the key really now is the Europa League, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say. But there's no other way we're qualifying for Europe this year. So let's try and win that. Camara plays it to Aya in midfield, who finds Kovacic. Midfield is definitely an area I want to work with. I know I said I was bringing Pedri into play there, but Pedri is kind of settling into that attacking midfield role. João Pedro's there. It's the 15th goal of the season for him, and we're 1-0 up. The goal for the summer is definitely bin off Kovacic completely. And because he's old, he's 33, we want a shot of him. We were trying to get rid of him in January, but no one really wanted him. And we couldn't really find a decent replacement for him either. But bin him off and bring in a couple of decent younger midfielders. If we could bring in a couple of midfielders and Liam Parsons from Posh, that would be a Champions League winning squad then, as far as I'm concerned. Our attack doesn't need touching now. If João Pedro does decide to stay, this front four doesn't need anything doing to it for 3 or 4 years. They're young enough and good enough to just dominate everything for a long time. The midfield needs a lot of work. The defence is a Parsons away from being brilliant. So, look, we're up to 14th as things stand. What relegation battle? My goodness. Dele Alli playing for Bournemouth. Who knew? I thought Williams had got himself sent off there, but actually it's a lovely, lovely tackle. Quaresma to Aya, all the way back to Dragowski, and it's with Gabriel again as we look to rebuild from the back. Once again, João Pedro. I really like him out on the left wing. I know he was playing up front when I arrived. I much prefer him out wide. I think he's a huge threat coming in as an inside forward off this left-hand side. And there is Camara. I told you he was good. It's 2-0 to Arsenal on 26 minutes. I haven't looked at where Bournemouth were in the league because I just assumed we'd beat them because of the form that we're in. But we'll have a look in a second just to see what we're up against here. But Kieran Tierney doing good work on the left-hand side. João Pedro, I mentioned how dangerous he was. And Rui Camara is He's good, and he's very good. Right, Bournemouth are 11th in the league on 34 points. So they're a team that would have liked to have thought, if they'd have played us earlier in the year, they certainly would have expected a win here. But they've caught us after our form has turned, and we're going to batter them. Tierney playing it forward again to João Pedro. Pedro back to Kovacic. Look at the way we knock the ball around. We are playing like a good side. João Pedro's won a penalty here, I think. We're going over to the little telly with the referee. Maybe it's not a penalty. The commentary at the bottom of the screen was saying it looked a little harsh. So it might be that it's not given, but I'd quite like it. I'll take a penalty at this juncture if that's okay with you. Penalty awarded. Lovely stuff. I don't know who our penalty taker is. I don't think I've changed it since the new signings. So yeah, it's still João Pedro, who I guess was the penalty taker when I arrived. I probably should switch Delap onto penalties. I definitely need to switch Delap onto penalties. Who hits the post from a penalty? It's harder to hit the post than hit the back of the net. It's a much smaller target. Right. I am happy with the way things are going. Penalty miss aside, that's been a very solid first half against a team who, until the start of this game, were in the top half of the table. So, like I say, they would have expected, even playing us a month or so back, they would have expected a win here today. But we are improving all the time as the new boys settle in, as the more established guys get used to playing in the Kettering tactic. We are enjoying ourselves. Oh, one thing we have still done a couple of times, even during this nice unbeaten run, there have been a couple of times where we've gone ahead in a game and just let it slip. And we have given up a couple of 2-0 leads since I've been at Arsenal, and that's only been a couple of months. Giving up a couple of 2-0 leads in a couple of months is a worrying sign. And if we do it a third time, it just really emphasises that we need Parsons in this back four or an equivalent quality player. I mean, I know I said before I wanted to bring in someone like Pellistri or Kirstic. I think we weren't able to afford them. That shows how ridiculously expensive they are. So we went and got Camara and Delap instead. And I think Camara is probably better than anybody we had at Peterborough. He's another one of those players who we just don't sign for Peterborough. We can't get him. Oh, look at this football. This is beautiful. What a goal. So it might be that we find a Parsons equivalent somewhere else if Posh really dig their heels in. They want £150 million for him, which is brilliant, and he'll be England captain for 10 years and he will be your top defender in the Premier League. But I don't think we can pay that kind of money for him. It's going to be a Manchester City or a Paris Saint-Germain or a Barcelona who take him off of Posh, I think, which is mad in itself. Right, Camara is tiring, so we're going to take him off. Yeah, we've got Saka on the bench who can just come on and play as the inverted wing. I think Saka, we said it when I first arrived, he probably needs to break into the team at left back now because he isn't getting past Camara in midfield at any point. Almada can come on in midfield and Pedri will drop back. Almada will go into that slot. Liam Delap's been a little bit disappointing today. He's certainly played better than this in the little run that we've been on. We're going to make a triple change. We're going to bring on Pete Bristow. I've only really played him out wide so far. We're going to give him 20 minutes playing up front. We're 3-0 up. He's supposedly a goal scorer. He's scored goals everywhere he's been previously. So let's give him 20 minutes playing as a striker. If it doesn't work out, he's kind of João Pedro's understudy on that left-hand side. Poor old Reece Nelson has fallen well down the pecking order with the transfers that I've done. But, you know, we needed to rejuvenate the attack with younger players. And that's what we've done. Almada charging forward, plays it into the path of Saka. Saka shoots and scores. And it's 4-0 to Arsenal. An 8th goal of the season for Saka. And we don't just have quality up front. We have depth up front as well. We've probably got 8 or 9 attacking players who are all proper top tier players. We've got an attack that looks like a Champions League attack. The weaknesses now are definitely in the midfield and the defence. So that's going to be the next job. But you know me, I'm going to score goals to get myself out of trouble. We attack to defend, and that's how we're going to save ourselves this year. Next year, we worry about building a defence because obviously if we go and play like that away against Man United, they're going to beat us. Away against Bournemouth, we win 4-0. Now let's go and book ourselves into the next round of the Europa League. But just one change for the Europa League game then. I'm not going to try and say the name of the team that we're playing. And Gascon comes in to, I think this is his first start. Yeah, Yeah, this is his first start for us. So we're 4-0 up from the first leg and we're at home now. So it makes sense to try something a little bit different. I was tempted to play Bristow ahead of João Pedro on the left-hand side, but figured let's not make too many changes. We're still not at the point where we can just massively rotate and we'll be fine because we're still learning to play this system. These players are still learning to play together. There's a lot of new signings here. I still don't have... I've only got average managerial support in the changing room at the moment. So I'll basically, what I'm saying is I want to go out and win 8-0 and really get a confidence booster, really get a morale booster going, get ourselves further and further into some good form, get João Pedro and the like playing themselves into some really top-tier form. And this feels like a game the way you can do that. But yeah, we'll give Gascon a little go first. Pedri... charging forward. Why is everyone charging forward today? Liam Delap, lovely finish. There you go. 13th goal of the season for him. It's not 13 for us. He scored 4 or 5 for Chelsea, but he has been very prolific for us. That game against Bournemouth was the first time since signing him that he's not scored a goal, I think, and he has made up for it here already with a goal after 37 seconds. 36 seconds, I think that hits the back of the net. Liam Delap, boys and girls. That's what spending £74 million gets you. And I know we could have spent the 84 and got Jack Joyce from Wolves and got someone we were already familiar with, or we could have gone to Peterborough and got ourselves Ricky J. Jones. But I kind of think Jones is probably not at the same level as these two. These are your two young English strikers. These are the two. When I questioned before why Jones never gets an England call-up, it's because there's players like this that are the same age as him who can do it at European level and do it at like top tier club level. No Arsenal at a top tier club yet, but we're getting there and we're definitely moving in the right direction. Relegation battle, my eye. Oh, the comments are still stinging. Relegation battle, my eye. Lovely finish from Delap again. That's 14 minutes gone. That's 2-0. Just keep it going, lads. Get another 5 or 6. I know it's harsh on Guignam. I'm pretty sure you don't say the P at the end for a start. I know it's harsh on them to take our frustrations out on them, but we built up a lot of frustrations in the first half of this season, and you need a game like this every now and again to just let loose, have a good time, and really set a marker down for the rest of the competition that we plan on winning this thing. And with the squad that we've now got and the form that we're now heading towards, I'd like to think we've got a good chance of doing that. I mean, at the moment, obviously, the group winners aren't in, so Posh aren't in this round. They come back into it in the next round because they won their group, thanks to old Kev. But the Champions League clubs are in this round. I think we managed to avoid one. I assume this lot aren't out of the Champions League. So we got a relatively generous draw, but I think I don't think we necessarily have to fear anybody. Certainly not in the Europa League. We got to the Europa League. I mean, we've been to the Europa League final with some terrible sides in the past. We've got to be able to do it with this very good Arsenal side, which if we'd have managed this team all season, we finish top 4 easily. This is better than the Peterborough side already. Delap out to Williams. Williams plays it back to Pedri. Pedri, look at it. Will you look at how they move the ball around? Oh my word. 3-0, a 17th goal of the season for João Pedro. He's loving life out on the left wing now. And we are settling in. I mean, it's the greatest compliment I can pay to this Arsenal side. They're playing just like that Kettering team that we had. We're playing the Kettering tactic. They're playing like the Kettering team. And they're playing like the Posh team when we were at our best. And it is very pleasant to see cross over from Wood. I mean, there's no doubt at all that's offside. There's 3 players playing him on there. I don't even know why we needed the extra replay, other than the fact that it was a nice way to see a lovely header go into the back of the net. 3-0 as we head towards half-time, 7-0 on aggregate now. I still want more. I want to absolutely ruin them. I wasn't exaggerating when I said I wanted an 8-0 win today. Not an 8-0 aggregate win. I wanted to win this match 8-0, because I think that kind of performance is what really, really sets you up to storm the second half of the season. That's why we didn't make any changes for today. Williams is in. There's number 4. It's not half time yet. We're on course. We're on schedule for the 8-0 win. They're going to come in at half time and like, well, there you go, boys. You're doing all right. More of that. Not well done. We're through to the next round. keep doing that. We want more goals. I think I might get Bristow on for the second half. Probably for Pedro. Get Bristow on, give him 45 minutes to run around and see what he can do for us, because I think that was probably eyebrows raised transfer who was all right in the Championship, has been all right in the MLS, and then we've decided to bring him into the Premier League, and it is a big move for him, a big step up, and I think he needs a game like this to prove that he's ready to make that step up. I thought Kovacic was going to make it 5 there, and we're only on an XG of 1.3 and we've scored 4 goals. That suggests we're playing all right. Right, we are going to make that halftime change. Pedro's going to come off. Bristow is going to come on that left-hand side. I think that's the only change we need to make for now. Everyone else on here we've had a look at recently, other than Kern Edwards. And with all the greatest respect, Kern Edwards, who the hell are you? You came through the youth system. Oh, you're the guy we recalled from Southampton. I remember now. We needed a left-back. We had one out on loan at Southampton who'd played every game of the season for them. So we brought him back to have a look at him. Turns out he's actually a centre-back, not a left-back. So he's less likely to get into the team. But he was brought back to be competition at left-back. He's on the bench today. So, you know, he might get some game. We might bring him on. Might give him half an hour. So we could probably take off Gabriel. I guess he's played every game since that first match when I think he was suspended. So we'll bring him on at the hour mark to have a look at him. It's going to be Tierney with an in-swinging corner. And there's nobody there to meet it, but Camera is there to try and keep the ball, keep the move moving. That's commentary right there. I wonder why the BBC have never offered me a job with quality commentary, like keep the move moving. Bristow, we really are trying to get something out of him. I'm a little bit disappointed in him so far. The majority of the other signings have hit the ground running. Bristow, not so much. I'm glad I didn't decide he was the only attacking player I needed to bring in, because I think we'd have all been very disappointed. As it is, we can almost slip him under the radar. He wasn't even one of the top 3 headline players we brought in. Delap, there's his hat-trick. There's his 15th goal of the season. Liam Delap, he's good at football. That should be the... I'm not trying to get into the BBC anymore. I want to be a headline writer for newspapers. That one will sell papers. Liam Delap is good at football. I don't want the back page headline. That's a front page headline. That's where it should be. Front page of the Evening Standard. Right. We were going to take Gabriel off and bring on Edwards, weren't we? So he can come on there. And then we'll give it another 10 minutes or so. And then probably take off Camera or Pedri. They seem to be the two retiring the most. Tierney's just going to have to suck it up. Tierney's less of a problem if he gets injured than the others are. So I'm less worried about keeping Tierney fit. We've got left backs coming out of the eyeballs. Saka can play back there if he has to. Bristow's done really well here. I think he's won a penalty. Has he won a penalty? I mean, he's basically, there's been some kind of scissor maneuver on him here. He's had players coming on him for both sides, both side tackling him. So if that's not a penalty, I don't know what you have to do to win a penalty. I'm going to say we have won a penalty. To make it 6-0 on 64 minutes, it's going to be Kovacic stepping up. And it is 6-0. Just 2 more goals needed, and we've achieved today's minimum expectation for what we were looking for out of this match. We don't need to see the replay of a penalty. Thanks. As much as I'm enjoying myself, that seems a little bit self-indulgent. Right, we are going to take off. We're going to take off Camera again. And you know what? I will bring on Reece Nelson, because he's not played for ages now. Since the new boys came in, Reece Nelson's not had a look in. So we'll stick him over on the right-hand side, give him 20 minutes playing as a winger. It means Saka doesn't have to come on. He's basically my first choice substitute for anywhere in the attack, really. Saka comes on, so he can have a little bit of a rest, and we'll give Reece Nelson the opportunity to try and force his way back into the side. Dropped on merit, I would argue. He wasn't really performing. You would think as a player who came through the Arsenal youth system, he'd be more upset than most about the state the club was in, but I do wonder if maybe there's a few players like him who've been here a long time. I'm looking at Kieran Tierney as well. Basically anyone who's still at Arsenal from the start of the game, who's let them fall as far as they have. What's that all about? What's going on in their heads? Why are they not stopping that happening? Bristow doing well again here, rushing through, and his shot is a pretty tame one. But 6-0 I'll grudgingly accept. I wanted 8. This is 10-0 on aggregate, so I guess you can't complain too much with that. Tierney is tiring now, but I don't think we have I don't think you've got 5 substitutions in it anymore. I think we're well past the point where you have all the fancy number of substitutions. So I don't think we can make another one, even though it's the Europa League and sometimes the rules are a little bit different in Europe. Maitland-Niles, he's a former Arsenal player, isn't he? That's not any real world knowledge there. That's I'm sure that's who I've signed him from in the past when I've been down in the Championship. It's either Arsenal or Liverpool, but I'm leaning towards Arsenal. Gascon plays it forward to Pedri. Pedri back to Aya, who is developing very nicely in that role, just sat in front of the back four. And ball over the top for Delap, who's looking for his 4th goal of the day, but in fact takes it out wide, finds Nelson. Nelson can't get a shot away. Delap back to Nelson again, crosses over to Bristow, and that's a big miss. That was Bristow's opportunity for his first goal in an Arsenal shirt, and he's absolutely fluffed his lines. So he might be the one dud amongst all these signings, but you know what? I can take one dud because we've signed some real quality here and just come away with a big, big win in the Europa League. Reece Nelson's picked up a knock. Delap has scored himself a lovely old hat-trick. And I think we've got the draw for the second round, which we'll do before you depart, because it'll be interesting to see who we get up next. So let's just push forward a little bit. The draw happens somewhere in here, doesn't it? We got the draw. Just seen someone's tweeted, "Thank you, Chapman." More of that in real life, you know. Oh, those comments. So upsetting. Right, here you go. Oh, there are some big teams in this. That's a bit of a worry. I was hoping the trophy had our name on it, but with Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund in there, and Lazio, and Milan, and Monaco, Sevilla, Posh. I mean, there's still some easy ties. There's some big teams in this. Although, I mean, I guess, what is this? Is this coefficient? We're the second biggest team left in it based on that. We're on a 96 coefficient. The only team that's ahead of us is Bayern Munich. So I guess they're the one we want to avoid. Anyone else, we'll take them. So we'll have this one. This one would be a beautiful draw. No. We'll take that. That's an even better draw. We'll have this one. Gosh, they're going to win this thing, aren't they? Celtic we can beat. No. Leicester, I don't really know. They're around the bottom of the Premier League with us, aren't they? I don't even know if we can draw over English teams at the moment. We don't want Dortmund. Us and Bayern are both still in this, and Milan. There's not, I mean, Galatasaray and Anderlecht, they're the two that we'll take. Thanks. We do not want this tie. This is just mean if we get this one. But we have lost Anderlecht as a potential opponent. It's going to be Milan, Lazio, or Galatasaray. Right, we are at home, which is not ideal, and we are going to face AC Milan. I mean, that's one of the hardest ties we could have had. They're 5th in Serie A. They won it recently. What's that, 2 years ago? They won Serie A. I mean, I guess if we were going to win it, we'd have to face someone good. But you look at who Posh are playing, and I just feel a little bit hard done by. But that'll be what we show you in the next episode. We'll probably do a similar structure as what we've done today. A league game in the second leg of the European games, probably Liverpool and Milan. We might get 2 defeats in the next episode after all the positivity of today. But the plan is still win the Europa League. The plan just got a little bit harder to follow through on, though. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.